Hi, who are you? What's your name? What do you do?
I'm Paul Meinshausen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Aampe. Aampe is a provider of what's called agentic AI infrastructure. We operate for consumer businesses. So basically a consumer application can provision an agent for every one of their end users, and then that agent can modulate, interact with its customers and the customer it's assigned to, and then modulate an application and continue to interact in a way that's best for that end user. So that can operate over a front-end surface, a mobile app, over messaging channels like push notifications or email or SMS.
So what's the problem that you're solving? Like, why would somebody, what kind of issues would they face that they would turn to you and say, yeah, that seems like a pretty good approach?
Well, every consumer business today is fundamentally solving the same problem, which is for itself, how do they get the attention of a customer in a world that's incredibly busy? It's an attention economy where there's just everybody is providing everything they can want, right? And so that's their problem as a business. The way they solve that problem, the way you get somebody's attention is you speak relevantly to them, you speak usefully to them. Now, how do you do that is a function of how well you're able to learn what usefulness is for that person, right? What is relevance?
And that's when you talked about not just a kind of singular identity, if you will, or a way of acting, but you have these multitude ways of kind of ways of acting and engaging and
I mean the old school, the original human interaction, human touch is that we speak with each other, we learn about each other, and if one of us is providing a service to the other, I'm trying to learn about you so I can provide a better service. What we want is for software applications to have that same ability to communicate and learn from the communication and get better and add more value because it's a specific interaction, a specific relationship. Not what it is today, which is a human in all their diversity and uniqueness and specialness interacting with a very static rule system that a product manager or marketing manager has designed a year ago or 6 months ago in Figma all by themselves based on.
So where you're presenting the information, you kind of set up the argument, there seems to be like a philosophical underpinning here, kind of a understanding of a certain type of semantic interactions and language. Is it based on any type of principles that you've kind of built a solution on?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely based on, there's a scientific element to it. Because fundamentally, the problem of how humans interact and how they convey information, how they receive it, and how you learn from it has cognitive properties to it. You have to understand that part, and you have to understand the statistical learning process. And so that's our backgrounds as founders of Aampe. Mm-hmm. We're coming from the world of neuroscience, cognitive science, and statistical machine learning. And so what we are trying to do is take that knowledge and train software to be able to replicate it so that it can do that job of interacting and then making an inference about you as a human, mm-hmm. so that I can then learn and then better interact with you.
Recommend an action.
Yeah. So in some ways, it is because it's such a big jump in the software, it has to kind of be founded on, yes, certain philosophic, but really scientific principles and knowledge that we're kind of transferring. Right. In the same way that autonomous driving required a really
paradigm
deep
shift,
lift, like in sensor technology and LiDAR, in imagery, in order to, it wasn't a pure algorithmic problem, it was a perception in the world problem. Similarly, software needs that level of infrastructure development to actually achieve what we want to achieve.
So you had pretty good reception here, a pretty good turnout and stuff. What did you think of the crowd?
It's a great community. Good
was this the first time you spoke at a meetup with Arjun? Or?
Here in San Francisco, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Are you new in town, or is it just?
I'm new. I just moved from Singapore.
Oh, really?
I moved in May. So,
okay. Yeah. You mentioned, Asian use cases and stuff.
Yeah, so I spent the last 12 years in Singapore and India.
Oh, interesting.
And so a lot of our early customers came from that part of the world. That part of the world is fascinating because they really leapfrogged the computer and went straight to mobile, and
they didn't
the
have
volume and and like the diversity and just a lot of the operational and scale challenges are
So how did you find yourself
special.
there? Were you had your own business, or were you working for a multinational, or you were in love?
Why in Singapore?
Why in Singapore?
Yeah, I left academia I left Boston and followed my fiance. She took a job with a startup in
Okay.
Singapore, and we moved
Interesting.
there.
Oh,
That was in 2013.
so
Yeah.
12 years, that's a long time.
Yeah,
And, okay,
yeah.
that's interesting. So, you talk about the leapfrog and stuff, and, now with the, current like tariff wars and, how we're like, our interactions with these other economies are changing. So Asia has always been a fast growing economy. Of course, you've seen Singapore transform in the last 12 years and stuff like that, linking into the world economy, but also like competing against China and then, all that type of stuff. So what is your, given, you don't have to go into the politics part, but just the kind of geography that's happening. Asia's on the rise, this type of technology, they're seeing adaptation. How do you feel America's doing now that you're kind of back here? What do you see that we need to like be more of or, learn from Asia maybe? Any kind of feedback?
Well, I mean, I'm fairly unabashedly positive about the nature of global interaction and the fluidity of that. We're basically just doing very large matching processes. I think that that's effective. That's in the form of trade, interaction, etc. There are local problems that are presented in different places, but I think there's so much that can be learned from those localized instances that can be then transferred elsewhere. And the more fluidity you have, the better.
Right.
Ultimately, it reflects the core problem I was saying, which is we live in a world with basically two secular major trends. One is material abundance. We have more we can pay attention to than ever before. In the 1990s, a typical Walmart had 100,000 SKUs in the store. Now, Walmart Online has 500 million. There's just so much we could buy, use, evaluate. On the other side, we live in a world with like just diversity being and uniqueness being, we're not represented by our race, our gender, our age, all of those things. We're much more than that. So you have more kinds of objects and more kinds of people than ever before. Mm-hmm. If you want to enable that matching process to happen, you need better technology.
So that seems to be, that you have all these permutations, right?
Yeah.
It kind of keep that image that you have in your presentation of the multiple boxes versus the single box, and how AI, thinks simultaneously, thinks faster, makes connections, sees patterns better and stuff. So there's all these elements in the model of AI that can solve for that multipolarity world. And then there's also interactions like tight trade or tariffs where there's broken, so the relationships change due to politics and things like that. And so are you hopeful for the world economy, or where do you see coming from Asia?
I'm very much
US?
a long-term optimist. I think that humans we find ways to solve problems and make things better. There'll always be problems.
Great.
There'll always be limitations, but
are you from here? Or the East Coast?
No, I'm from the East Coast.
Okay, so it's the first time you live in San Francisco?
First time living in San Francisco.
How are you finding it?
I love it. It's really nice.
You live in the city or outside?
I live in Sausalito.
Oh, Sausalito.
So
That's nice. That's nice. You have a relationship? You have a partner? And
wife and two kids, 3 and 6-year-olds. So.
Good. Well, welcome to the Bay Area.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're Aampe, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, perfect.